I'm working on a series of pieces that are gonna be showing in April with my solo show in Naples, Florida. There's a gallery that represents my work, and it's called Harmon Make. They've been established for a while now, since 1956, and the show will incur probably 30 pieces. Um, Last year I had same show, well, kind of the same show with them, which was called um, When There Is Not Frontiers, and of course, COVID canceled it. So now I'm very excited to get back to future some new works and see how is that going to be. This piece in particular that I have been behind me is a work in progress. In this stage, it almost has the second layer, and I particularly start my work doing drawing because I'm a fanatic of drawings. And what I do is charcoal. And then I kind of like work as a watercolor effect because also I do like watercolors. And as you can see, some of the areas in this painting has that like water-based silhouettes all over. There are some areas already that has some more impasto in the painting because I tend to work with a lot of pigment, especially in the areas that has more light on it. So here, for example, the silhouette of the gentleman has already highlights colors. And what we see here, I don't know if you guys can see it well now. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, it looks very good.
Definition. Okay, so the composition of this piece is centered on this gentleman that is having has a teacup and he's drinking tea, and then you have this landscape in the back that reference the cold weather. So like you can start seeing it from now. I have my sketch. So I tend to do a lot of sketches. Sometimes they just stay as a sketch, and sometimes I bring as a bigger works. So here you might see how this painting is gonna look. So it has some snow, and had the mountains in the back, and so I use a sketch as a reference, and he's sitting on a table which is a ping pong table. So it's kind of like working with the metaphors of how like the interaction of the game, but also it's a sitting table in a home that has a window, and in the back has a background. So if you have any questions about the piece so far, or I can start working.
No questions so far. Did you want to turn your palette? The phone.
Oh yeah. All right. Good. And here's my palette. All right. So I already have laid out some of the colors that I'm gonna be using. I probably will get some more. But here's I work with different brushes from the past. I have done like several techniques like a la prima. I was usually use this kind of brush. That was many years ago when I just work in a la prima, like putting the colors all together, Matisses and all that kind of stuff. And from there, I just have changed brushes to brushes, and I didn't work with the Home Depot brushes to create bigger effects. So you guys see it because I can see my camera here, from here. So there is a variety of brushes that I use mostly in my work, and that also depends in the stages of the painting. So what I'm gonna be doing here is I'm gonna be mixing some colors to create some undertones. I was still working on the undertones of his face, I basically use, for example, when we have the ambient is cold, I might tend to use more kind of like the warm colors, and then I will build some cold colors on top of these areas that you see, some orange and kind of greens and all the matices around his face. So it will be covering more now with the cool colors. So that's what I'm gonna be doing on my palette.
I had somebody asked you a question about your surface. Do you paint mostly watercolors or do you do oils and canvas? What do you do most?
I do. Well, I like all the mediums that I just mentioned. I particularly have a preference for oils because that's the work that I do the most. Like in terms of big scales, but I think I do a lot also of watercolors, especially in sketches.
Era que va a empezar a pintar.
And so this is kind of like my routine every day. I wake up, kind of read the news, and then I sit on the when I get to the studio, I sit on a space that I have on the other side of the studio that has a window, and then I do watercolors there. That's the beginning of my day. So watercolor is kind of like building confidence after before I get to do some of the oils. And in fact, watercolors also has provided me that uniqueness of starting my work very loose, and I like that. I enjoy that. So I feel like when I do oils and I begin my work after the drawing, I might be doing some watercolors and then I start building the layers. Does that make sense? So here I'm using some of this raw sienna and some of the ultramarine blue and white. I mix them all together. So it kind of creates this gray color, which that's gonna be my kind of like my undertone right now for his face. And I will be placing these colors next to each other so I can pick with my brush from the pile of these paintings.
And someone wanted to see your brushes, if you could show them once you start painting.
Absolutely. I have many, but here's what I'm using today. If it depends how far we go with the painting. So here's the pen. I really like the pens because it charged a lot of it charged a lot of colors, and also you can use it to diffuse some of the lines. So for me, I implemented a lot with the from the beginning to or even for some drawings, like past drawings in the canvas. Here is the sable brush I use, and that is to build some fogginess in the painting. Like I will be doing drawings with charcoal, so this brush allowed me to do that. Here's another brush that I cut it, and I also tend to modify my brushes, and this one is also to charge with more painting, and of course like Home Depot brushes. So that's kind of my piano. So this is a fun process. This is not like always right on the colors that I'm gonna be using, so I'm trying to change it because it's not exact; it's an interpretation. And in my paintings, I don't. It's kind of like an expressionism. So I don't necessarily require a lot of details in my work. So I tend to, to create this impression with the brush strokes and just leave the painting like that. For me, it tells more stories.
And someone wants to know how you came up with your concept. How do you come up with your concepts?
With my concept, daydreaming. It's I feel like in my life, um, to be honest, it happened. My basis happened in Cuba because artists were not. I mean, you're allowed to work and do interpretations of your culture, but when it comes to a political statement in visual arts, it gets complicated. So you might be arrested. And so I used to do, or many artists used to do, is like use this symbolism and metaphors to hide the message. So if, for example, I have a painting that is in my own collection uh, from 2007. It's a painting that carries bananas. It's like it's a wrap like made out of plantains leaf, and on top of it is the bananas floating in the water. So that painting was a critique of the immigration that Cuban people had. But if the government will come and say, well, but this is like you're talking about, leaving the country, which I was doing at the time, I would say, no, it's just bananas. It's just bananas in the water. So you see, it's like the metaphors helps to create another perspective and another interpretation in the painting. And that's what I like to do in my work most of the time. Um, I was saying before, this piece is, this gentleman is sitting there, the landscape in the back, but also he has he's sitting on a table that is a ping pong table. So now just the fact that he's sitting on a ping pong table, it creates a different interpretation. Why he's doing there? Why his table, his dinner table, or is a ping pong table? So that's how I kind of like develop my subjects in my work. Kind of like sarcasms as well. You see, now I'm covering more of the red, using more this kind of green color. And I still have some of the details, not quite, but this is some details of the his eyes, nose, mouth. But I feel like in the end, that's gonna be covered when I ended up with more layers.
Somebody has asked if you are doing oil painting over watercolor.
Oil painting or watercolors? No. I do the watercolor effects in these pieces on canvas with acrylics. So it's a fast media that allows you to do the quick sketch in the canvas and then start working with oils. For me, it works. For some people, it's always different, but for me, it works. So I will be doing 3 paintings at a time. I might show you later what I'm working on the studio. I have 4 paintings that I'm working on, and because again, I'm used a lot of layers in my painting, a lot of pigment, tend to drive, more, not as fast as a very thin paint. So I work in 4 or 5 different paintings at a time, which is also kind of elegant for me because I use photograph as a reference, but I don't necessarily copy the photograph. So I spend a lot of time looking at my paintings uh, and painting with my eyes, and it's fun for me because it's sort of like an abstraction of reality, and again finding yourself or what you're trying to express. So it's a very regarding process for me to do my paintings that way.
And you're painting on paper right now, is that correct?
No, this is canvas.
Oh, just
Canvas.
Okay.
Yeah, and my easel is I have to show you later. So it kind of like up and downs my paintings. I'm working in oil, so this is oil. If you see the palette, this is oil. You see?
Okay. Someone would like to know how long it takes you to paint a painting like this.
I don't think I count. It's a labor of love. um, it depends. It's like I say, I work in different paintings at the time, and uh, so it could have a time of a week. It depends on the side. So if it's a bigger painting, it will take longer. Yeah, it's my process is, I even though I like to paint with the fast brush strokes, I use a lot of layers in my work that it slow the process because the drying process. So that's my issue. But I think if that would be something that I can eliminate in the future, I will paint even faster. It's like, I don't know if you guys know the work of Joaquin Sorolla, which is a Spanish artist. He tends to say his statements that if a painting it hasn't done fast enough, it will lose the feeling. And that guy used to do paintings like every day and even sketches. But with so rapidly broad strokes that it contains a lot of the legacy of the brushes like going all around the canvas, which was fascinating. That was my first reference in art. Back in Cuba, the National Museum has a wonderful collection of his work, and I will be going to the museum like 4 times a week just to look at his paintings. But I have reference from many other artists as well. Like John Singer Sargent, I admire the guy. His work is it's like a miracle. Like you see him, like for me, it's like how he did it. It's so incredible done. uh, majestic colors, Matisses, and that's the kind of reference I like to have in terms of watercolors.
Reynier, everybody says they can't see your paints. They can't
You-
see the palette and they're all curious.
the palette,
No one can
Okay.
see the palette or the brushes or anything.
Here.
That's
They
strange.
have to go into the gallery view.
Okay.
Okay, so but this is my palette.
In the right-hand top corner of the gray screen, you will click the View button and click the Gallery View. No, not you, Renee.
No, me.
All the guests, go ahead, not you. You're good. Everybody,
Okay.
to the right upper part of your gray screen and on the View tab, go ahead and click Gallery View.
I see a palette now on the side. We can see it to the side of it.
Right, that should be side by side.
Yes, correct.
All
Is
right.
This
everybody
whole time
seeing
you guys
that?
were able to see the palette.
No, they didn't see the palette all this time. But now we can.
All right, and Rosie's saying on an iOS device, go to More.
Is it fine now? Still.
I think it's okay. I hope.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
And at the end,
It's
Well,
fine.
at the end, maybe
here's a,
at the end, maybe you can show us a close-up of the painting. It's kind of hard to see what you're doing so far away, but that's
Yeah.
kind of difficult for you to have room enough to paint in front of the canvas if we put the camera any closer. So I don't guess there's a way to get a close-up. That's great right there. That's better.
Is it good?
You got
All
room?
right. Who needs the painter? Just put the canvas. All right. So I'm working. I'm working in some of this area again, like going back. I don't know. How's the definition with the video? Is that okay or
It looks good to me.
good? Good. So you might see the difference now from what it was before and what it is right now. So now it has more the green touch instead of the orange kind of like gray color on it. So I kind of like mixing them up. And what is interesting about layers that I have fun is that when the light hits the painting, the under layers, like you can still see, it's kind of like magic. You can still see what was under because the light, it kind of like introduced itself to all the like the spaces, open spaces that our eyes can see, and then it rescue all those colors that are under layers to the top. So the painting kind of becomes like three-dimensional effects. I like this color. Forgot what's the name. Let's see. Oh, permanent red. So I'll go with the ears here. Very intense, but then I will go back again and I will cover with some the under layers. So yeah, in my subject matters, it varies. I was doing still life, which is a bouquet of flowers. Um, back in school, like my friends will ask me all the time, "Oh, can you do a drawing for my girlfriend?" And with no charge, of course. I should have tried, but I wasn't that good doing drawings of roses or any kind of flowers. It was very complicated for me. So I'm trying to challenge myself in an expressionist way that flowers are also a good way for me to express my composition. The uh, the last painting I did is it's called Sismo, and there is flowers with the base, and the water inside the base is moving. So it's kind of like interesting way of looking at that piece. I will show you guys later too. I'm already losing a lot of the details again. You guys can see that. So me painting for me is like drawing at the same time. Like I like to move my brush, just creating the silhouettes of what I'm been working on, and that's kind of fun.
And somebody wants to know, will you redefine the details or leave them loose?
I mostly will leave them loose because for me, I find very interesting like when the object or the person in this case uh, doesn't have that many details on like you can find yourself more like illustrated as the painting that you see it in front. Like this gentleman can be anyone, and that also I used to do a lot of academic work. So for me, the notion of doing realism, I kind of was obsessed about that. And but like for me, already have done many of those. So I just want to be more loose. I try to edit more. I think less says more in my work personally, and that's why I don't necessarily need to create a lot of the details in the painting. Just the suggestions. You see, especially in the shades areas, like the shadows and stuff. When it's like referring to watercolor. Most of the time, watercolors, those areas, there are a lot of details because the areas where the light is, it kind of like builds all the information that you need. And then when you go to some of the other areas, you already know what is there, even if it's not detailed. There's a funny story of my dad being in the studio. Which painting was that? Oh, I was doing a portrait commission, and of this gentleman that has a garden. He's in love with his garden, and I was doing some of the loose brush strokes in the on those vegetables. And my dad said, "Whoa!" And my dad is a lover of realism, and he said, "Whoa, but that doesn't look like a tomato. You say that is a tomato?" He said, yeah, but how you know it's a tomato? Well, because I see this fruit over here and I see this tomato over there more realistically. So I said, Dad, if I remove everything from that composition, I just have that brush stroke there, will you be able to say that that's a tomato? And I said, no. So then how you know that it's a tomato? Because the reference of the object next to it, it tells your mind that that's going to be a tomato. And that's what I like also in on the watercolors effect, that reflects the areas where light is, and some of the areas where the shadow is, that that's going to be an eyes there, a nose or a mouth, even it's not clearly reflected. Does that make sense?
It does. And Paula said that your looseness, she really loves that part of the painting.
Oh, thank you so much. It's fun. It's like it's kind of like doing abstract some way to keep the drawing. There is also so I like watercolors. As I mentioned, I like the oils, drawings. I start experimenting also with sculpture. It's just a time. I wish it would be more time in this life that you can do everything you want. But also I do like to do the coffee painting. So I use coffee as a medium for my work.
You actually hosted a meeting of CAG at Roper about 3-4 years ago. It might have been longer, but you might have been doing a coffee painting as well. And I think somebody of the audience wanted to know if they could save their coffee grounds for you.
Well, the revolution is starting already, so save it for me. Yeah, it will be wonderful. I tend to use these coffee paintings with espresso. So if you're espresso lover, please think about these artists. I'll send you my address.
And Rosie wants to know where did the concept of this painting come from? And there was another comment of another artist saying that she loved the light that you have going on.
Thank you. Well, I want to start from the light thing. The light, for me, it's always been an issue. Like many years ago, I will do my work on, and then some of the areas, some of the light areas, it will kind of like become opaque, and I didn't know why was that. So I struggle a lot with light. So now I think my biggest strength is light, because I have worked so much on it that I kind of understand how it works. So thank you for noticing that. And the concept. Okay, so the concept. Oh, I wish I wish I can like have some of your guys' interpretation, because that's what I enjoy the most. Like I'm just a bridge from my work to the spectator. But I can mention my interpretation, and you keep your interpretation. Um, I have a study that I haven't done yet of is is a horizontal canvas. It's a horizontal sketch for a canvas that has the table, the ping pong table, and and on one side has a plate with a glass of wine and silverware, and the other side has the same elements. and I call that piece, which I haven't done yet, but it's in a sketch. I call it supper. So what's a game? What's a table game? Like your rival is someone that you play to win, or is just a game, or you get very serious about the game, and then, or you might argue, or you just have fun. So there has a lot of for me, it has a lot of layers of interpretation. And if I translate that composition from this painting, I feel that he might be looking at you and having that kind of game, maybe in a conversation, or there is someone across the table that you don't see, that is part of the tea time that he's out. So that's kind of my conceptual opinion about this particular piece. So am I gonna start cooling down the areas with the has more impact of the light, especially on his face? So I'm using again some ultramarine, and when I have this gray color, I'm kind of like, from my palette has been infected with all colors. I kind of mix that color here, and it becomes great. I'm gonna use his flesh tones. Gonna build his flesh tones as it was a regular light, like the ones that you see in there. And then I start mixing that.
And someone is asking, with the light, how do you now avoid the opaqueness?
Can you repeat the question again?
With the light, how do you avoid the opaqueness?
I think I'm trying to interpret it, what you're saying. It's how do I avoid opaqueness?
Avoid of opaqueness. Solid.
Like
I'm not sure.
like the
I'm not sure what she means.
Well, I think I think the meaning of, maybe I'm gonna answer the way I understand, is it has a lot of the warm color. Um, the ambient of this painting is almost like a sunset uh, kind of feeling, that it's is mountains or snow. So it's not, it reflects a lot of the white, snow reflects a lot of the blues, but he is almost like a sunlight, like straight sunlight. So I'm have to call that down, like these colors with same colors and the grays. I think that's what she's trying to ask me. I don't know if I'm wrong or not.
She said that this was a problem in the past.
Oh, so how I solve it? Working on it.
No whites. You just
You know what? That's a good reflection. I was so cut off on what's it called, photograph, on my early times, when me working in and all those subject matters as portraits and still life, and I realized that photograph, especially when you print it on a paper, the paper will replace light from to white in the printed sheet sometimes. And what happened is that when you try to understand that, when you try to copy what you're seeing in that photograph, what happened is that you ended up using a lot of white to your work, and that just because I think that's just because what the colors are you see in the photograph, and every color tend to have white, and that's the way that is printed on the paper. And so you try to imitate that, and of course when those colors start drying, it becomes opaque and opaque and opaque, and it has that kind of like mist in the entire painting, that even the earth tones, those are the ones that dry faster, they become gray because of that, I think. So yeah, I have worked on that. I have done a lot of my own research and interpretation of my own palette, and I kind of figured out that I don't like to use a lot of white. Now I'm confident on doing it. I can like I don't even think about it. I just paint how I feel that the color should be, because I don't think too much. But before, yes, and that was kind of my conflict on lighting. So, and then it become better and better and better through the years. And now sometimes like even the some areas dry as it used to be on the beginning, very opaque, and I still like that, because kind of like fight with the integrity of the other parts of the painting, and it's kind of accidental, but I like it. But
Yeah.
I'm able to like to reduce that that intensity of opaque if I want to.
And Michelle wanted to know if you tone your canvas, if you prime it with any color, and also had another question about whether you do you thin your oil paints, or do you paint directly from the tube?
Boom, 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 boom. Yes, I do sometimes prime my canvas. It depends. Like for example, this one has this blue base. I don't know if I got from here you can see it. Um, let's see. You see that color right here? That's the one that I use um, for like covering the paint, the canvas, priming the canvas. And why? Because, well, sometimes I tend to do a lot of the sepia colors, but sometimes it doesn't work, because the atmosphere that this painting is asking me is about blues. So for me, it doesn't make sense if I have, like people when they do paintings and they have the background sepia, like a very wash, which is very beautiful because it rescue a lot of the earth tones. But for me, it depends on what mood the painting has. So I go like I kind of examine the predominant color in the composition, and that will be sometimes the base of my canvas. There was another question on that.
Actually, what's your favorite white paint? What do you use?
White paint.
Right. What brand?
Uh, I do like Rembrandt, uh, but it depends also. The other question was like how loose I use my paintings. So that kind of like mixed with the with this question that you asked me about white. So there are some brands that have more pigmentation in the tubes, which is good for impasto. But sometimes you just want to be loose and to break down the that oil. It's too hard, so I wish I can have been sponsored by this brand, Carbon. So Carbon is another medium that I use, brand that I use for my oil, because it's very loosey. So I like it for the sketches. But then when it comes to pigmentations, I kind of like, go for brands that have more like strong color, which is Rembrandt is one of those. Which one is the other one? I think Gambling is a good one too. So yeah, it varies. But again, I don't think too much about brands. I kind of like marry with some of these brands, but I don't think too much about it. Just put the colors and start having fun. I'm going around my camera to get to my palette. So can you see now from like here on the top and the side of this part of the painting, that is how transformed the color becomes, like cooling down?
Yes. And are you using linen or what type of canvas? Cotton?
This is linen.
And do you have a favorite brand of that?
Ooh.
Like Fabriano?
No, I don't think. There is a website. It's called Doc Canvas, and that's what I order my rolls. They're very strong. I have all.
Can you spell it?
It's like Doc, like the Doc.
DOC?
DOC. So they're good providers. I think they're in Tampa. It kind of takes forever. So if you're in the rush, you might want to go to your local store and get it.
And Paula wants to know, do you use medium? And also, what do you clean your paintbrushes with or add to your oils?
So I use, I'll give you my little secrets. So here is the other part of my piano stage, where the mediums for me cleaning brushes and using for painting. This one is liquid. That's what I use for like thinner the painting, and also dries faster the painting. This is coffee for my own well-being. Here I have turpentine, and these 5 elements. There is cooking oil. Can you guys see it? So cooking oil, I clean my brushes with the turpentine, and then I place it in the cooking oil, and it will keep the moisture of the brush. So I just take it out, clean it again, my turpentine. I have like this pocket right here, which I put a lot of turpentine and I clean it and they just crash. That's what I use for cleaning my brushes. It was tedious, my friend. It was tedious to go and watch the brushes with soap and go back. I was spending a lot of time doing that, so I did this shortcut, which is working for me right now. And that's the case of the oil. It's a lot of
And Michelle says that she has studio envy. So at the end of your demo, not now, but at the end of your demo, I would love for you to swing your camera around and show that wonderful
absolutely.
1,000-foot plus studio that you have, especially in
Absolutely.
Miami. That's amazing.
Yeah, I love my space, man. It's like, uh, you know, it allows me to be very creative in terms of size, and I like to look at the painting from afar. So I'm blessed with this space. It took me a while to find it, but I'm very happy with this studio. Yes, I'm definitely will show them. There's some paintings that I have laid out around. That's the ones that I'm working for my show.
And Apollo would like to know if you use palette knife as well as brushes.
Oh, your voice was cutting out. What were you saying?
Do you use palette knife as well as brushes?
In my canvas, yeah, not often. Not often. I like to create more the effects with with my brushes instead of the palette. Although it's very interesting that the effect that I can create, especially in the large areas, that like creating more like plain colors, like the wall, for example. That's what I will use more the palette.
Now, what else will you do with this particular painting to finish it? And will you be varnishing it at the end?
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. It depends. For what I was saying before, how colors dry. There are sometimes that it's so opaque that I want to rescue some of the colors on the layers. So I will do I will do varnish, but that's not often. I just leave it in the way it is, and I should be varnishing it, but it's just takes time. And but no, I don't have. Do you have a particular brand for varnish, Steve?
I kind of use the Gamblin products.
The Gamblings are, man, they're incredible.
I bought a very expensive brush. I've used it once, maybe twice, and they sell it at the arts and crafts establishments. But I have not varnished too many of my paintings. I'm starting to, though.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm kind of haven't been very into the varnish stage of my work, but I know that sometimes it requires it. Going to that. I wanted to have more like that blue. Switch. How many people we have? They've been very quiet.
We've had so far almost 40 guests. A lot of questions.
Nice. Nice. More color. Okay. So now I can see like I switch my my brush to cover more the areas.
So what more detail will you add to this painting to complete it? Are you going to add more to the table or more to the outcropping areas or more to the portrait? What would make it?
Oh yeah. I will send you guys a photograph so you guys can share with the members. But I will work in the background. So far in my work, I've been experimenting a lot of accidental brush strokes. It's kind of like interpretation of abstract piece, and that occurs more in the end of the painting process, which I enjoy a lot. So areas like, for example, this brush stroke right here is not just it's not the part of the mountain that we have in the back. It's just a feeling that I just thought that it should be nice to have that kind of texture, color, pigmentation in this area. It might stay, it might go away, but that's kind of like I'm working now with my work. So it's a lot of experimentation as well that goes around this painting. So I will work back again with my sky, some of the layers of the on these very far mountains, and then this mountain right here will still building more colors. Like for example, right here we'll have more like that light that from reflection from the snow that you don't see because the trees that we have here, but it will have more reflection here, and then it will go more darker on the top. Then I will go and work on the snow that right now is almost it's not pink, but it has pink and yellow and some greens, but that's my only under layer, which will help me to build after more of the light white blues for these areas, the snow, the trees, and it will go on and on. So maybe the hands, like you see the hand right now, it has that drawing, fast drawing with my brush. I might leave it like that. I might not. I might take it away. So the painting will ask me what I have to do. It's like, again, it's like details, less detail for me tells me more. So I'm kind of like, being judgmental about what should have or what not. And the table, yes, it will have more pigmentation, but not that much. I like that kind of fluidity that has right now as a watercolor effect. But we definitely will have more pigmentation. Some of the shadows and then the net, I have to like paint in it because right now it's like nothing there.
How about
So
the coffee cup? Will you finish that?
the coffee cup, something like something like you know like very loose. Like it would be very loose. Yeah, just this is just the prime color for that. But it would be very very like I don't know like a shadow, ping pam boom, and that's it. So it does. I don't need as much work in that coffee cup. Some smoke coming out, which I have already like described right here. But that's pretty much.
I think that
It- it-
line, the line that you have there on the mountain, not only does it give it scale, but it gives
uh-huh.
a triangle that encompasses the main figure, the portrait.
Yeah,
It kind of,
yeah, you're right about that.
look,
Yeah, you're right about that.
Reynier,
Yes.
I hate to bring this up because we could watch you for a long time, but they still want to see your studio and
Oh, yeah.
we're really running short on time. But there is a question. Could you send a picture of the finished product when it's done? So that the
Absolutely.
people that saw it today can see what happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm very,
We'll
very
definitely.
thankful. Would you show us your studio, please?
pan around.
Yeah.
Yeah, shows this guy's studio.
Let's do that. So
We're
I'm gonna show
curious.
my entire piano here.
I want to move in. I'm going to start painting. Again.
There's my nice. Come visit. Let's do some collaboration work. Okay, so here's my piano, my grand piano, which I have all my brushes, and you can see it's kind of messy, guys, but forgive me about that. There is some. That's my friend. He's very talkative. And it has some of the paintings in the back, which there gonna be some pieces that go to my solo exhibition. Here's another work that is incomplete still, but as you can see the texture already that it has. And I do a lot of sketches, like small pieces. Let me turn this light on so you can see this painting. So that's another piece over there. My bookshelf, and there is some studies as well that I keep for myself. They're very entertaining. Just keep me on the loop.
Can you show the whole studio? The big
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is
Look at this.
my studio. Yeah. I can skateboard in here. There's some new piece that also goes to the show.
Isn't that a coffee painting there?
Yes, this is a coffee painting.
Reynier? That you've got to show that close up to those that don't know your coffee painting.
So coffee is a major thing for me. Actually, the experience with coffee was I started doing coffee paintings in Charleston, in Cuba. Well, how happened was that I accidentally spelled some coffee on a drawing for my class, and I thought my teacher was gonna kill me. And I tried to dry the coffee, but it was already drying on top of my drawing. And at the time, I didn't have watercolors because Cuba and necessity and all that kind of stuff. And I say, gosh, I can do watercolors with coffee. So that's how coffee started, but that was very basic. Actually, this piece is I call it new normal. These are the DNA structure and their mask. So that's the piece, and then back in Charleston, I have this. There's a piece right there that you can see because I have that all color on. That's a watercolor right here.
And we have another question.
Yeah.
What do you use to sketch with? Charcoal, or oil?
I do. Well, like say that these are my sketches. Like if you remember the other piece I show you, that's oil. I have these boards from Home Depot, which they're great. And this is my mirror, so I use my mirror for look at my painting. So the own reflection, the side reflection that the mirror gives you, it takes you away from the view that you have, like to be just looking at the painting. So it gives you the different reference, and then you can spot errors that you might find through the mirror. So that's why I have a mirror here. You see. So I paint and look at the mirror, and then I go back to my painting, and then I look at the mirror, and that's how I kind of like do my my work. The mirror is a very asset for me. Works in progress, and those are my sketches. Like I have a lot of sketches. Like I tend to do one sketch a day. They're very fast. Again, don't necessarily need to have details on it.
And one last question, because we're almost out of time. Somebody wanted you to explain your easel setup.
Oh, okay. So last piece. So this is the flower painting I was talking about. There. So my easel. All right. I will place my camera here, and I don't know how you call those hook on the top. It's kind of like the marine things. Like I don't know if you can see it. I will send you guys photographs so you can share it too. I don't know if the camera does adjustment. So I use this 4x6 wood panel, and I have this hook right here that I attach the paintings on, and I create this hole that, excuse the noise, and like I will leave my painting. I used to do it by hand, but sometimes I do bigger paintings that it becomes very heavy. So this helped me to uplift the canvas up, or push it down, and then it clicks. So that's my easel. It's not expensive at all. I think you can build something like this with $60, and it's very useful.
Something tells me that you might have thought about this before.
If I had thought about that before.
Yeah, that you have thought this through in your studio.
Well, I like to plant my I don't know. It's fun. It's the area that I almost live in this place. It's my temple. So I kind of like want the way the things are to be set up on my studio to be easy for me. So like I said, right, that my easel it's safe in space. I have this high ceiling which allows me to create that kind of format for that. So yeah, it's a blessing.